everyone. Today we are having a look at Stray. We're going to be talking about whether or not it's going to be considered a cozy game. Stray is a game that allows you to play as a cat in a dystopian city. So settle into your favorite spot and let's find out together if this game can cozy. As a refresh for what the cozy parameters are, we have character customization / world customization, NPC interactions, graphic quality, soundtrack, general player experience, the story, and of course, my personal opinion about it. Now, Stray has very limited character customization in that you can't change the appearance of the cat at all. The only thing that you can change is that there is a vest that the cat starts to wear, and you can add pins and things like that, but those are more unlocked versus things that you add for aesthetic purposes. It's kind of like the way of documenting some of the achievements that you can earn during the game. There is also no world customization, nothing that you can change, nothing that you can build or create. But of course, one of the biggest draws to this is that you play as a cat and you can do all of the classic cat things. As for our NPC interactions, there is quite a lot that can happen with the NPCs and our cat. It's quite a unique little system that gets developed as to how you communicate with people because, as a cat, you don't really talk. The NPC interactions are a ton of fun, and the way that they respond to the cat is quite interesting. Most of the NPCs are robots. These robots have been abandoned, very much left behind. They've never seen a cat, they've never interacted with a cat, so all of the interactions that they have are just so fun to see. Within the NPCs, there are no romance options, nothing like that, which is expected from a game in which you play as an animal. While romances do add emotional connection to the player, well-written friendships within games do much the same. You do develop really good relationships with the NPCs. Definitely made me cry a good few times. The next thing we're going to talk about is graphic quality. The graphic quality within Stray is definitely not a cutesy graphic style. It is very much fitting within the dystopian theme. It's a little bit grungy, it's a little bit dirty, it's a little bit damp. Overall, the art style definitely fits within the world of what Stray is trying to build and communicate through. It's very dystopian, very much abandoned, overgrown, rusty, but inherently it isn't a super cozy style. There are definitely areas within the game itself that you can find that are quite cozy and quite cute, but it definitely isn't the overall theme that you experience throughout Stray. Soundtrack within Stray is really fitting for the world and the atmosphere. If anything, it's really going to just be a little bit more intense and dramatic. There are definitely a lot of scenes that you encounter in which things are kind of high stakes, and the music definitely reflects that. For player experience, Stray does not have any ability to adjust that. They have more of a one-size-fits-most kind of style, which for the most part is going to mean that the game is relatively approachable to most players. But if you are not somebody who is used to high stakes, used to needing quick reflexes, used to needing to be reactive within games, like if you like things to be a slower pace, there are definitely times that it might frustrate those kinds of more casual players who aren't necessarily invested in honing the skill of getting good at the game and just wanting to see the story play through. I personally land on the side of things where I don't really love to spend a lot of time getting super good at a game. I kind of want to experience the story, fall into the world, see how things play out. So when I need quick reflexes, if I'm super invested in the story of what's happening, I frequently miss them. And in this game, if you miss the quick time events or if you don't do well with your reflexes, it is tragic what happens. It makes me so sad every time. The story of Stray fundamentally is a game about reconnecting back to family and trying to get back to where you came from. And as you go through the entire story, as you work with the NPCs and you get to know them, ultimately you guys kind of have the same goal of trying to get back to the outside. Stray, I would say, is rather emotional for the story that it tells because it is really focused on loss and meaning and survival and purpose. So as you go through and explore your environment, the story is conveyed a lot through what you are seeing, what you are experiencing, and what you ultimately are told by the NPCs that you interact with. So the story was fully engaging and engrossing for me. I really enjoyed it overall. The narrative was beautifully displayed and written out, and the way that you find all the information is really satisfying, and it doesn't feel like it's too on the nose. You definitely feel like you're kind of discovering it on your own, even though it's probably very much a linear direction. You were meant to go in this area, you were meant to find this at this time. There's not a lot of deviation that can happen within the story. It feels very organic, though. My personal thoughts on Stray and how everything kind of plays together. Stray was a really great, I think maybe 5-hour experience is how long it took me to go through the entire game. The story was beautiful. I thought the environment was really good for it. It played relatively nicely. I didn't find that the controls were weird or anything like that. Everything seemed pretty intuitive. And I definitely went back to play again because I really wanted to collect all of the pins that could be displayed on the cat's vest. I wanted to complete all that, so I definitely went back and did some achievement hunting within that world. And while it was a really beautiful experience and story, ultimately, this isn't a game that I would classify as a cozy game. It's not something that I would go back to and play again and again and again for comfort and for relaxation. Stray lacks a good number of cozy elements that I look for, and the main reason for that is because it is so conflict driven. It's very high stakes. I cried too much during it for it to be a very comforting game for me. So while Stray is not necessarily a cozy game, I would definitely say that it's worth the play, but I would love to know your thoughts. Is Stray a game that cozied up to you? Or are you kind of in agreement where it's not necessarily a cozy game? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. With that, I will see you in the next one.